Howdy. I'm gonna talk about something very strange. And it is something which has been rolling around in my head for a while. It's the strange video I somehow didn't manage to make for a while. Now I try. Let's see what follows. Yeah. Are you open-minded enough? We will see. Anyway, let's give it a try. Let's start off with a hair whorl. A hair whorl is a patch of hair growing in a circular direction around a visible center point. Hair whorls occur on most hairy animals, on the body as well as on the head. Hair whorls, also known as crowns, swirls, triglyphs, can be either clockwise or counterclockwise in direction of growth. This is a hair whorl. Hair whorls on the head, parental whorls, have been studied by some behaviorists. Behaviorists. Most people have clockwise scalp hair whorls, parietal, maybe parietal whorls, which are considered to be normal scalp patterns, could be a single whorl or double whorls. Cases of triple parietal whorls are less common. Yes, you can find some papers about these. I found one which was rather interesting, but it would stretch the video very much. So, let's just take this. There's a hair whorl on top of our head. Some people are not showing it to anyone. They wear a hat which is obscuring exactly this part of the head. I don't know the reasons for that. Maybe one day I figure out. If anyone knows, tell me. I'm really eager to know. But anyway, you can see that it is a vortex. So, and since I'm not a mathematician, I'm not this kind of a witch. I just like to see stuff. Lunar North Pole. The lunar North Pole is the point of the northern hemisphere of the moon where the lunar axis of rotation meets its surface. That's a very funny sentence. But anyway, the lunar North Pole is the northernmost point on the moon, lying diametrically opposite to the lunar South Pole. It defines latitude 90 degrees north. At the lunar North Pole, all directions point south. All lines of longitude converge south there, so the longitude can be defined as any degree value. Anyway, this text didn't tell us anything. But look at that. There's a vortex too. On the moon. And then we go over to the Pulse webpage, where you can find my papers. And here is my last paper. And when we go down in this last paper, let's scroll in or zoom in a bit in this. I show the surface conductivity anomaly, where we find also the Outokumpu copper mine, the plasma rocks. And frequently there's an auroral display when there is a crack in Earth's magnetic field. Now, when there would be some geomagnetic activity, it's cloudy, which is a very interesting repetitive pattern. almost every time when there is, let's say, announced geomagnetic activity, it gets cloudy and you can't see anything. But if there's a surprise crack in Earth's magnetic field, we see the auroras. No clouds. And I started to think that this might be no coincidence. That there is a vortex-like structure here as well. I still have to figure out where exactly this is. Maybe I figure it out one day. Then I go there and take a look at it. But anyway, we have to go still more down because there are a few pictures mingled into one picture. Actually, before we go into that, here you can see the whole surface conductivity anomaly. I have to change the color probably. Here in the middle, that's the whole surface conductivity anomaly of Fennoscandia, Scandinavia, Norway, Sweden, Finland, Russia. And here on the left are the polar cusps. And the polar cusps are here. At the edge of Earth's magnetosphere. Earth is here at the center. So, we have to scroll still down a bit. Yeah, there's some plasma, volcanic plasma phenomena as well in this paper. Once again, the surface conductivity anomaly and some mythology. Maybe I already went over it. I don't know. No, here it is. More vortexes. Vortices. On Mars, Valles Marineris, the Carpathian Mountains. Gulf of Mexico. There's Florida. And a whole lot of volcanoes. But it looks to me like a vortex. And I made a funny comparison. If this would be on this side, this blip up here would be Florida. Who knows? So, I just tried to show you that we can find vortices in many places. And there are people which are in a way spiritual or whatever. And many songs have been made about this. Many religious texts talk about this, that someone heard a voice and then it just came to him or her. The voice of the God, some information got transferred, and afterwards the person was different. He was or she was receiving some knowledge or whatever, understanding. It got influenced by something greater, something from above, something from the heavens, from out there, not from this world, so to say. And there is a song from a band where they, or he is singing that, "Behold, I come quickly." And suddenly I heard the voice of the Most High. And the voice said, "Behold, I come quickly." And I was thinking about this for some time now. What does that mean? He went up to the hill. He heard the voice. And the voice said, "Behold, I come quickly." And I was like, what does that mean? What this possibly could mean? And maybe it means that, "Behold, I come quickly." This means that they are talking about epiphanies. I don't know how many of you ever experienced an epiphany. I think, because it's very hard to prove, if there's any possibility to prove if you experienced an epiphany or not, tell me. There's 17 questions or 500 questions. You answer these, and afterwards you know if you experience an epiphany or not. I don't know. But I think I experienced several epiphanies. One, I just tell you now what's the thing. One happened one day when I was raking fall leaves in the yard. Yeah, and I like to do stuff like this. Doing something outside. And just doing, You are fully immersed in what you're doing. When I rake, because, yeah, I'm raking. And all of a sudden, I noticed that I was thinking about something very strange. I was thinking that, or I realized, or I understood, or however you want to call it, that glaciers might be lava streams made of water, which would make the mountain a volcano. And I thought that, hey dude, put on the brakes, throw the anchor, do something. This is crazy. That's totally crazy. Glaciers aren't related in any way to volcanoes. What are you thinking about? Maybe you just should continue raking. But I tried to continue raking for a while. But I couldn't do it anymore because I really had to start to make research about this. I really tried to find information which totally debunks this thought. And the thing is, there has been, in a way, it felt like a huge amount of information and stuff just like placed into my head. And then I was thinking later that, everything you know is a memory. And I started to ponder about this spiritual people talking about hearing the voice, let's say from God. And there are like several people which are rather interesting to listen to because they experienced something like this. And afterwards, they were different. They were talking about different things. They were talking different or differently about the same things. Maybe they were talking about stuff no one ever heard before. And they didn't talk about this stuff earlier. It just happened very quickly. And there are people like Rupert Sheldrake. I will put a link below to one of his videos. I was thinking about featuring him in a video, but I don't know. You can listen to him. He even answered me once. I should actually write him back. But anyway, where did I? Yeah, it's about that the memory, your memory, is not stored in your brain. It's probably stored somewhere else. Because, like Rupert explains in the video I'm gonna share with you, it's in the description box. And there was some scientist which took parts away from rat brains, and it turned out that they still remember. Doesn't matter which part you take off, the rat still remembers. And of course, if you take the whole brain out, it doesn't work anymore, but that's another thing. Now, somebody actually did this kind of a thing. You know, that's crazy. Think about that. But anyway, so there is rather strong evidence that the memory is not stored in your brain. Then the question arises where it might be. And I think it is stored in our auras. This led me to another thought. And that's why we are here on this whatever Cosmos page, because I just tried to find a picture. Swarm satellites shed light on near-Earth electric current systems. And here is a picture, and unfortunately it's impossible to see the whole picture at once. Doesn't matter if I click on it or not. But here we can see there are many different kinds of currents, the plasmasphere and magnetic flux tubes and stuff like that. And somewhere around our planet out there is the magnetosphere, which is in a way Earth's aura. And that's probably that we have the auroras. So now I was thinking that is it possible that if the memory is stored in the auras of beings and not in their brains, and as I also have been talking about the electrical or the energy surge peak at the moment of death in our brain, and I also have been talking about the light we are probably all gonna see at the moment of death is due to the surge of electricity in our brain because our aura implodes. And the energy which has been confined within the body gets released, and it will be part of all energies. It will be part of Earth's electrical circuitry. So, is it possible that part of this energy, which is also information, propagates, accumulates, or whatever you want to call it, in Earth's magnetosphere, which is the aura of Earth? I don't know. But is there any possibility that all the memories anyone ever had, we have to talk about dead people, maybe also the living ones could be involved in this as well, but the memories of the people which are gone are stored in the Earth's magnetosphere in a way. And the hair whorl which we have on our head is in a way the polar cusp or the surface conductivity anomaly of our bodies from our auras. There might be a polar cusp of our auras, some, I don't know, half a meter above your head. The actual cusp. And if someone experiences something like an epiphany, which is a glimpse into the occult, you are just all of a sudden, whoa, that's interesting. And then when you follow that, I think it's possible that many people experience epiphanies, but they don't care about it. Or they try not to care about it, they just ignore it. Yeah, that's, I don't know, crazy thought. Let's forget it. Let's get on. Let's go gaming. Play some video games. I don't want to think about that. It's creepy. I think that's very, very possible. But people which are interested in these kind of things, they will notice this kind of events. And people like I really want to know. So I started to make research about glaciers, mountains, and stuff like that. And boy, you have no idea what I found. I wrote a paper about that. I made some 400 videos or more. But there's still so many other things I found I've never told anyone, which are very interesting. And it seems that it's almost impossible to debunk this initial thought about glaciers being lava streams made of water. Which is quite a thing. Yeah, I didn't think about this earlier like that. But then it happened, and since then, yeah, it's almost debunkable. The undebunkable. It's like amazing. Whatever I find, it just fits perfectly into the picture. It's amazing. It's really amazing. So the thing is, if there is any possibility that there are fluctuations in Earth's electrical circuitry, and there are also large regional variabilities in geomagnetic storm effects in the auroral zone, like we are talking about geological things here. But, like if someone is in good mood, he has a high frequency. If someone is depressed, anxious, or whatever, sad, in pain, his frequency might be rather low. So there might be peaks of energy. Things connect and disconnect, and sometimes it's really hard to connect to anything. And sometimes, in a way accidentally, you make a very strong connection to the thing, to the whole, and like this, you get a bunch of energy, information, energy peak, information peak, same thing. Which is amazing. You're just there like, what? Really? And then when you start to search, make research about it, try to figure out, does it make any sense? And then you're just like, the more you find, the more it turns out that, yeah, it really seems like that. So it might be that it depends where you are, how you are, high, low frequency. Do you have an open mind? Are you able by, let's say, your configuration? Are you able to receive something like this? Or would it get repelled by whatever? Closed-mindedness, ego, whatever. It just doesn't make it through. So, we have vortices, we have resonances, we have... Yeah, actually, I still have to show you one thing. There are people who can explain this much better than I do. Like people like Stefan Burns, this geophysicist guy. He has it dialed out with showing very easily understandable stuff. But anyway, I do it this way, which is rather complicated and sketchy. Similar spectral power densities within the human resonance and a large population of quantitative electroencephalographic profiles supportive evidence for Koenig and Popachenko. Anyway, this is about how the Schumann resonances are very likely or are very similar to the resonances and frequencies of our brains, and therefore our auras. In 1954 and 1960, Koenig and his colleagues described the remarkable similarities of spectral power density profiles and patterns between the Earth ionosphere resonance and human brain activity, which also share magnitudes for both electric field and magnetic field components. So, there is very obviously a connection between the heavens and our brains, and therefore our auras. We have this vortex on our head, which seems to be the polar cusp, or something like that, where the energy can go in and out. And is there any possibility that if someone experiences this kind of an epiphany, that the memory stored within Earth's magnetosphere, which is the Earth's aura, gets funneled into you? And that's why the amount of energy is so great, because your aura compared to Earth's aura is very small. So a very small blimp or drop or flash, peak, or whatever from the Earth's aura into your auras could be a big thing for the being receiving the energy, information, the information energy. Yeah. This was not very hard to somehow explain what I mean. Basically, it's about epiphanies and memories not stored in our brains, and the possibility of these two, or like Earth's magnetosphere and our magnetosphere, making connections, and there is an energy, information, energy is information, information is energy, exchange going on like that. The secret about epiphanies. Maybe. I don't know. But now I try to explain this in a way. This could have been done much better with better pictures and all kinds of fancy stuff, but this is how I do it. Anyway, thank you for listening for this, how long? Half an hour? Yeah, and if I feel I didn't came anywhere to explain this. But anyway, very long video. Maybe one to remember. Thanks.